Welcome back to Top Shelf here on the Filmaholic channel. And the list we're doing this week is top 10 coming of age films. So like usual, we do our 5 honorable mentions before we actually get into the list. So Ethan, I'm gonna let you kick things off since this is your favorite movie genre.
Yeah. All right. Let's see you turn red right away with number 15 with Lady Bird. Barely made the cut. Yeah, just let it sink in. Especially when you realize like the 14 I have above it, you're gonna hate.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's really good. We've talked before. I don't like the ending. Should have cut off 10 minutes before, but
stroke.
Yep. Number 14, one of the ones you haven't seen, Sing Street. Know your love for the British. Really good movie. You're missing out. I think I've seen it like 4 or 5 times.
It's okay. You're gonna love my 14. So
yeah, I'm sure. But yeah, you haven't seen it, I know, and I doubt you ever watch it.
No, I'm not gonna watch it. I'll tell you that right now.
But yeah, 13 got Dazed and Confused. Which will link later. Because I set the standard at 18 years old is what my rule was. Because otherwise he would have a couple more on here from his filmography. But this one, I like movies if they're done correctly, like A Day in the Life or a couple days. But
yeah,
they can be awful if they're done bad. But this is one he did right. Number 12, I've got The Spectacular Now.
You son of a bitch. Oh, man.
One of A24's best movies. Miles Teller, Shailene Woodley. It's pretty good. Could be better. I liked it more the last time I watched it, obviously. One of the funniest scenes of the decade, though. I will throw that in there.
Get a sick sense of humor.
Hit by a car. Number 11, another one you haven't seen, is The Way, Way Back. Came out, I want to say 2013. Can't remember the main actor, but it's got Steve Carell, Toni Collette, and Sam Rockwell too.
Yeah.
Supporting roles. One of the first movies I've seen with Sam Rockwell, like that I recognized him and his performance I really liked. But yeah, you might like that one. You should check it out if you can find it somewhere.
Yeah, I was actually planning on I was trying to watch that the other night.
Oh, man.
But it wasn't streaming anywhere.
Oh, yeah. You missed it. Man.
So, didn't get to watch that one. So for my 15, by the way, so far I think we have 3 that are the same in our list overall. So to kick things off with my number 15, the bottom of my honorable mentions, and this movie could be up higher if I rewatched it now, but I haven't seen it since it came out in 2017, and that's Love, Simon. I saw it in theaters. I need to watch it again, but I remember really liking it. Right now I have it rated at a 4-star. I think part of my problem with the film that brought it down was the comedy. Didn't work all the time for me. I remember couldn't stand the principal or assistant principal or whatever. Like those moments just like took me out of the movie. It felt like a completely different movie than what I was watching the rest of the time. But the rest of the time, it was really good. I thought Nick Robinson did a really good job. Story was great. I think it's important coming of age film. So that's my number 15. My number 14, you're gonna love this, and that's The Breakfast Club. At number 14.
Can't all have good opinions, I guess.
Yeah.
Take a course, dude.
It's a really good film. 4 stars. Obviously there's some stuff that doesn't hold up today. That brings it down a 0.5 star for me. If it wasn't for that, it'd definitely be a 4.5. But yeah, it's iconic. It's fun to watch. It'd be interesting to see it through a modern lens, but I don't want them to do that. But it would be interesting to see. My number 13, same as you, Dazed and Confused. Like you said, I really like the day in the life thing too. I mean, even Once Upon a Time it's kind of partly like that, but 2 days in a life kind of. But I like that. And Dazed and Confused, awesome soundtrack. All these characters. There's a couple complaints I have about it, but overall it's a 4.5 star, excellent film. My number 12 is the reason we're doing this list and the reason we, are doing coming of age this week, and that's 8th Grade, which we're doing on Free Pour. What's up?
Oh God, dude.
Is it on your list?
No, it's not on my list.
Yeah, we're doing Free Pour this week for 8th Grade, and it made it to number 12 for me. Definitely different, a little bit younger than you would think for most coming of age. And then finally, for my number 11, final film of honorable mentions, you're going to love this too, so hang tight. And that's The Perks of Being a Wallflower. It's my final honorable mention. Once again, this is a film that could be higher. I'm putting it in my mind right now at a 4.5, but it could be lower too. I haven't seen this film in a while, but I remember really loving it when it came out. I watched it at least 2 times in theaters. It might have been 3. I think it was 2 though. But yeah, I was going through some stuff then, and I just remember just driving to the theater by myself, just going in and seeing it. It was just like therapy for me. But yeah, that's my number 11 because I haven't seen it in a while.
Could be lower. Get out of here.
Could be.
Well, my number 10, not gonna be on your list. Paper Towns.
Nope, not on my list.
Yeah, I'm getting good at guessing how many will have the same. Yeah, Paper Towns. It was during that period when they kept making all of John Green's novels into movies. The Nicholas Sparks for our generation, I guess.
They only made 2, 3 now, but
for Alaska, it's a TV show.
Yeah, they waited too long. I don't know what happened.
But this one I do really like. Group of friends go on a kind of a road trip to go find a girl that's lost, or they think she ran away, left them signs. Obviously, if you watch the movie, you know what happens. Just loved the chemistry between all of the different actors. Screenplay is really nice. Pretty fun movie. Got one of my favorite movie characters of the decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. My number 10, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
It's my number 8.
I think this is, not based on just his writing, but his directing films. This is my favorite John Hughes movie. 4.5. Not much could be better about this film, really. I think some different casting is. I actually think if you replace Matthew Broderick with somebody else, the film could be a 5-star. He doesn't do a bad job, but he's just one of those actors where I'm like, I don't know I think anything he was in, you just replace him with somebody else, it could probably be better. I was thinking that when I watched The Cable Guy. I'm like, man, if Ben Stiller had just directed and played this character, it would have been probably a 0.5 star more.
I don't know who you would have recast Ferris Bueller as.
I don't know.
Good job, yeah.
I would have to look at actors around that time that could have done it. I mean, I don't want John Cusack in there, but
that's who you'll get. You'll like it.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is second favorite John Hughes movie for me. I don't really have any problems with it overall. It's just not a 5-star film. Wish there was a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think the idea was when I think one of them was in a nursing home, breaks them out for a day.
I think it's a little bit too much. It kind of gives me Dumb and Dumber 2 vibes, and I don't want that. The idea that I heard that I liked was them just being in jobs, and like he breaks Cameron out of his work for the day.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
What is?
Whose day off would it be? Cameron's day off?
I still call it. It's still Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I guess. But then it's like, I want to know what the story would be. It's like Ferris's boss trying to track him down. God, you've missed 9 days this work year. Like, yeah, you're fired. You just fired, dude. But yeah, you wouldn't want to see it anyway because you're like, oh, I don't want to see Matthew Broderick in the lead role again. Get out of here.
I mean, that's not happening anyways.
No, I doubt it.
All right, man. What's your number 9? Fall asleep on you.
Time to go to bed. The Vanishing of Sydney Hall.
Yeah, not on my list.
Yeah, I told you. I know how many we got. This one, I question putting it on the list because of the different time periods it goes through, but I kept it because the majority of it is based on his story from being in high school. Like I see, there are times where it shows like him older, like, and that's mostly at the end. But the majority of it is him in high school. Stuff he has to go through affects him in his life. You know, he's got his parents, the girl he's with, and then someone he was like friends with for a day. Different things and how that affects his life going forward. A24 movie, really underrated. Critics hated this movie. Has like a teen percentage on Rotten Tomatoes, I think.
Really?
If not lower, to be honest. I can understand like a lot of people don't like the jumping around with the time periods, but then that's kind of the whole point of the third act with like the twist and the surprises you get. So not really sure how you get around that without just because it kind of takes it away if you don't have the twist. But I thought Logan Lerman, Elle Fanning, and Kyle Chandler, and even Blake Jenner, small role he had in it, they all did incredible. Yeah, really underrated, and it'll be on my list of top 10 A24 movies when we do that.
I don't know what I have it rated. I remember liking it, but not as much as you, clearly.
No, clearly not.
My number 9, and I'm assuming this one is on your list as well, and that's Honey Boy.
That's my number 7.
From 2019. And this movie is based off Shia's life. It's his own. He wrote the screenplay, and it's he changes the character's name and stuff, but it's based off him and his relationship with his father. I liked the movie more upon the second watch because I knew what I was getting. The first time I thought it was more going to be like an evolution type film of like him as a kid and him growing into what he became, and maybe even seeing what he becomes now, but definitely what he became. But instead, it's really small bits of him at this one point in his life, played by Lucas Hedges, which does it say what age he's supposed to be? I can't remember. In that point,
he would have had to be in like a late teenager, early 20s.
Yeah,
because it has him like when he plays Transformers.
Well, they changed those dates around. Those dates aren't accurate either.
But I mean, it also shows him drinking and driving, so I guess he'd at least be
like 21, maybe, probably
something like that.
Yeah. So it shows that point, and then it jumps back to majority of the film when he's a kid, living in this hotel room with his dad, dealing with acting as being a child actor, the relationship with his father, his mom not really being around, doing this other stuff. He's got this other guy trying to be like a father figure to him, and then his dad messes that up. He's got like this relationship with this girl in the hotel as well, which is kind of weird. But he's a kid, so he's like, to him, it's somebody comforting him.
Yeah, it's like a friend, but then like I don't know if I'd say a motherly figure because like his mom's not around at all,
right,
in the movie. So I mean, yeah, it's like this is a 5-star for me. I know you said it will never happen.
I don't think it'll move to 5 for me, but it's a 4.5.
Super emotional. Some of the stuff just break your heart. Sit there, scene in the motel where I can't remember, they get into an argument. Shia's the character he's playing, which would have been his dad. He's like, oh, let me teach you something. And he's like, you can get away with hitting your boss once, get away with it twice. Just hits his kid right there, man. Yeah. Then, like I say, after they have that fight, I guess what you would say the big emotional scene where they're sitting there and he's like, oh, you know how it feels to have my son paying me? Well, you wouldn't be here if I wasn't paying. It'd be a rough way to grow up.
Once again, another film that was completely snubbed from the Academy of multiple things in the film that should have been nominated, including original screenplay and supporting actor, definitely. And you could even argue director.
I would absolutely argue director. I think she was very underrated at the award season. Alma Harrell, I would have put her in my list of top directors.
She's not in my list, but she was in my long list because I've been starting to do that, preparing for when we're going to do that. We're looking at each year. So I did a couple years, and she didn't make it, but she was in the long. If I had 10 directors, she would definitely be in that.
Who are your 5?
We'll talk about it.
You have Sam Mendes in there. We have a problem.
Yeah, he is in there.
Okay.
All right, man. You gonna break?
Well, we've said my 10 through 7.
Oh, nice.
Maybe you want to
go. Well, I hope this one isn't in your thing. It's my number 8 is Rebel Without a Cause.
That's my number 6. We're just chopping it down.
Well, you're safe after this for a little bit. But
maybe.
My number 8 is Rebel Without a Cause, 1955, James Dean. I don't know when the first coming-of-age film came out, but this would certainly be, I would say, one of the first, probably.
Definitely one of the biggest.
One of the biggest. Made for a young generation and trying to understand what they're going through. And James Dean did a great job capturing that emotion in those scenes. Natalie Wood, Sal Marino, is that his name? Did a really good job especially with the LA background to it.
I know you had East of Eden before, but that's not exactly like a universal story for coming of age.
Right.
I can't exactly.
And it's a period piece.
I can't remember how old he was. But this one definitely would have resonated with most teenagers, I would have suspected back then.
Definitely. Relationship with their parents, expectations, all of that.
Yeah. I think this was the first James Dean movie I watched too.
It was the first one that I watched. I remember. I think you had it maybe and brought it over. We watched it in middle school, or not middle school, early high school. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so. That was my number 6. So whatever you want to keep chopping off my list, I guess. For a little while.
Well, I know my next few are on your list, or you've already talked about them. My number 7, and this is one, we have different opinions on what is a coming of age. You have very certain things for your genres. To me, there's certain genres and there's certain films that are clearly just one genre. Like a lot of horror films are just horror films. But coming of age, most coming of age aren't just coming of age to me. If you look at it, you could consider a coming of age, but you could also consider it a comedy, or coming of age and drama, or coming of age action. And
I can understand drama and comedy having elements, but where you're going on this list,
there's 3 films I'm going to have on this list.
I thought you were joking.
No, no.
I was like, oh man, it's serious.
There's 3 films on this list, and this 7 is one of them that you consider them something else. But to me, they're coming of age films in the shell of something else. And okay, so my number 7 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which is you're freaking out over there because it's a comic book adaptation, a superhero film, and it's an animated film. Because I know how you are about animated films. They're only animated films, no other genre.
It's animated or a superhero. It's not coming of age.
It's got all that, but it is a coming of age. It's him. If you take this film and you take all these superhero elements out of it and stuff, because that's not. I mean, it is a superhero film, but it's about this kid. And him growing, and him going through these different things, and his life, him dealing with his dad, him dealing with his uncle, figuring out this stuff with his uncle. What's
third genre though? Like it's animated, then it's superhero, then it's coming of age.
I wouldn't classify it like that though. I mean, you could, but I would classify it like, you know, in a line of they're all of these. And that's another On the Rocks we're going to do at some point is genres.
Hey man, that's your list. You can.
So we can go into that. Yeah.
Go for it.
My number 7 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Miles Morales, and I think it is a coming of age. My number 6 is a film that you already talked about in your honorable mentions, and that is Lady Bird from 2017. Okay. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, by the way, that's when my list turns to 5 stars. Every film I have after this is a 5-star film for me. Lady Bird is a 5-star film for me. I love it. Screenplay is fantastic. I love the ending. I think it worked. The performances are great. Cinematography is great. Directing is great. Everything's great about this movie. It just happened to like the other films above this better. Now, and this list is too, just, you know, obviously these lists are for us personally, like what we like more. I'm not saying that some of these films that I have above Lady Bird are better coming of age, like in terms of just if you're just judging about like off that aspect, but it's just my personal opinion. But yeah, number 6 is Lady Bird. And you know that goes into my number 5 too, because 6 really looks at the relationship between a mother and daughter. I liked that. My number 5 really focuses on the relationship between a mother and a son, and that's The Spectacular Now is my number 5, which you already also mentioned in your honorable mentions. Spectacular Now is going to definitely be I think it's my number 2 right now of my A24 films. I love Spectacular Now. Saw it 3 times in theaters. Definitely, I loved it more back when it came out because of where I was in my life. But yeah, to me, it's perfect. I think Miles Teller, Shailene Woodley did a great job. Kyle Chandler, Jennifer Jason Leigh. I'm not a huge fan of her stuff that I've seen, but I liked her in this. Thought she did a good job. Love cinematography. I think it was really good. You know, if we do an adaptation list, that might be there too, because it was a book, and I think I have never finished the book, but I've started reading it, and the movie is far better. But yeah, that's my number 5. So you haven't gave your number 5 yet, right?
My 5, yeah.
Okay, what's your number 5?
Like I said, Spectacular Now is one of the funniest scenes of the decade. You can include that scene in the video right here. My number 5. Now I get to turn the tables. We get to take one of your picks. With Superbad.
Superbad is my number 3.
Hilarious. One of the funniest movies of all time.
Definitely.
If we're talking about movies that I want a sequel to, like, yeah, we can put this up there. I want to leave out of the car after college. Where is McLovin? Does he still have the fake ID?
Yeah, so we can vote twice now.
Yeah, obviously. How many 20-year-olds do you think there are in this town? Love the screenplay. Like, it's crazy. Like, you know, they wrote this when they were younger, just to see if they could do it, and was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to him talk about that. It's like they wrote it when they were really young, and then they just kept like evolving it over time until they got to the point where they ended up making it. Obviously, the characters named after them. And, you know, if this movie came out today, a lot of things would be different about the film, for sure. And Seth Rogen would say that. I mean, his jokes have evolved with the times. But, you know, I remember watching this as a middle schooler and be like, oh, man, this is like, they got it right. Like, this is what you're thinking in your head, all this different stuff. Just one of my favorite screenplays of all time. If I we make a list of that at some point too. Just like
it's just perfect. You've got, you know, obviously most of the kids, that's your main focus, but then you've got a couple adult characters, Seth Rogen and Bill Hader, who've got the funny back and forth. Just build onto the comedy with McLovin throughout the night. Number 5 for me.
So I have my 4, 2, and 1 left, and I know my 1 and 2 are safe. So
I'll go with my number 4 then, because I had a stroke. I can't remember if you mentioned it. Yeah, you mentioned it. Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Yeah.
My number 4. 5-star for me. Always has been. I can't remember. I know I was one of the only people to watch it in theaters the first time I watched it. And then I actually think there were more people the second time.
Well, it had like a bit of a resurgence, while it was in theaters. Like, because when I saw it the first time, I mean, I knew first couple times I watched it, people weren't talking about it.
No.
You know, and then like by the time the third time I watched it, it's like, people started talking about it on like Twitter and stuff. Like, oh my God, Perks of Being a Wallflower, and then it's like sharing that one thing with Paul Rudd and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Love it. I have the book. I like it, but
the book was good. I did read that in high school too.
Just because I'm more of a visual person, so I'd rather see something on the screen. I thought Logan Lerman was incredible. Favorite movie character of the last decade. Super relatable stuff he's going through. I will kill you. Give it up, dude. Move your stuff by yourself. Favorite movie character of the decade is always going to be relatable with Charlie. And I remember there's like random times I watch movies like when I'm driving or whatever. On a long drive, like I'll put a movie on I've already seen, and I tried watching this one time. I'm like, man, it's got to go. Run into the guardrail if I got to keep watching this.
Man.
Very sad movie. But yeah, it's my number 4. And you said which ones were safe on your list?
My 1 and 2 are safe.
We must have.
You're not going to consider it the same
3
time.
must be your 4 then.
Your what?
My number 3 must be your number 4 then.
Probably, because I know it's up there for you.
My 1 and 2 are safe also.
Well, I'm sure your number 1, and I've already said it in my honorable mention. So. My number 4 is The Edge of 17.
Yep.
From 2016. This just moved up to a 5-star for me. It was a 4.5. I've seen it a couple times. I saw it in theaters. Loved it. But then this past time I rewatched it and I was like, I don't know. I just loved it even more because it's like it really is the perfect coming of age film. Of, you know, obviously she's a girl, so it's a little bit different than what we would have went through, but also very similar. You know, like.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't. It doesn't really focus on issues that, like a good coming of age movie. It's not just issues that just a girl would go through.
Right.
It was definitely like a universal story, because it's like her having problems with her family, not having friends, and then like say when you get to a couple scenes, it's like she doesn't like herself, way she sounds and looks and everything. So that's definitely something every teenager goes through.
Yeah. So many great moments. I love that when the party scene, when she tags along and goes with him to the party, and obviously this whole situation with them is awkward anyways. But now she's going to a party that she hasn't been in this kind of environment before, and then she's going in this environment, and then the people she came with are obviously her brother. He's off doing his own thing, and then her best friend, now she's walked off and like talking to these other random people, trying to impress them, and she's just like, oh, what am I supposed to do? And then she comes over and like she just ditches her. I think I'm gonna go play beer pong with these guys. Just
awesome.
Just standing there awkwardly, and I just like, oh man.
I mean, I think she went to the bathroom too. At that point, doesn't she like run into the bathroom right after that? It's like,
yeah, she's like, don't be so awkward, don't be so awkward. And that's just like, man, I just think about like parties I went to like around that age and stuff, and be like, man, that's what I felt like. Just why am I here? I mean, I came because it's a party, alcohol, but I'm like, I just feel so out of place. You
just stand there. It's like,
don't want to talk to anybody. At that time, like most of those parties I guess I went to were like Desmond, so like every time it's like, dude, I'm just gonna stand here beside you with my drink, like, I don't know.
It's very reminiscent of like school dances. I'm gonna stand over here the whole time.
And then there's that one guy too which she ends up with him at the end of the film, but who's like trying to ask her out, and she's like, oh no, we should go as a group.
Yeah. Way more fun as a group. And then he tries to kiss her on the Ferris wheel.
Can you stop the ride, please?
Please. I would just throw myself off.
Just jump out.
Just do whatever, man. I don't care if you stop the ride or not. I'm getting off right now. But yeah, like I say, I think I had 2 scenes in one of the videos we did, the top 10. I think I had 2 scenes. The one with, I know I had the one with her talking to her brother in the hallway at their house towards the end, and I think I had the one where they're at Woody Harrelson's house talking, but I can't remember.
I don't know. Like if we did the top 10 characters of the decade now.
Yeah. I don't know if I left her off or not.
Well, her and Woody Harrelson would be in consideration. I really loved his character in the film. I mean, I didn't have a teacher like that I definitely didn't have a teacher in high school at all. I mean, there was there was a handful that I liked, but I didn't have any that was, that relationship. But I loved his character, how he's written, how he acted. How she was his favorite student, and that he really cared. But it's like I love the scene where he comes and picks her up, the donut place. He like just gives her a wink when he comes in. Just goes over and like tips the people.
Oh yeah, he's like, you buy a donut from these people. I've just looked on. She's my number 7 for the 2010s, and she might make it up one more spot, but that would be the highest. Like I say, you're talking about favorite screenplays. This will probably be on mine. A lot of mine would be coming of age movies, maybe.
I think this is an overlooked movie too. I don't hear. I guess a lot of coming of age movies are. You have the very few that people take as seriously, I guess, as they should. I mean, Lady Bird and I think maybe Moonlight. Not Moonlight. Moonlight. Man.
You got some Disney leaks. You know what the show's gonna be about.
Moonlight and Lady Bird. I mean, obviously, there's some on here, but that I've said, but those are the 2 biggest ones of recent years, based off my memory, that the Academy looked at, and people took critically like that. I'm like, these other movies you're missing out on, performance wise, screenplay wise. Edge of 17, I probably would have nominated that for original screenplay.
It's not the same year. I prefer Lady Bird over Edge of 17. Or Edge of 17 over Lady Bird.
I started to say, man.
Yeah, no. Jump real quick. I prefer Edge of 17. I mean, there's different elements you can look at.
They're close for me. I mean, like I said, Lady Bird 6, Edge 17's 4. But in the past, I liked Lady Bird more. But after just rewatch, because I just rewatched Lady Bird not too long ago too, Edge of 17 did move up.
Yeah,
for me.
But even if you're talking about like the same year, I think this is a better coming of age movie than Moonlight. Like, I understand how the Academy is attracted to Moonlight as an awards contender.
Yeah.
But as a coming of age movie, I definitely prefer this one.
Yeah. I mean, I do as well. Yeah. I mean, Moonlight was. I mean, it didn't make it on my list, but it was on my long list of the other ones that I could have considered or thought about considering in my total list of 15, but it didn't quite make it in there.
It's moved down over the years.
It did for me too. It was a 4.5 originally the first time I watched it. I think I saw it twice. I think I might have saw it twice in theaters.
No, you did not.
I did not?
No, you did not.
How do you know?
Because we were going to talk about going to see it, and you're like, no thanks.
Okay. I knew there was a discussion about seeing it twice.
There was a discussion, and you were the holdout.
Okay.
No thanks.
You remember everything, so.
I told you I forget nothing.
No,
thank you. I don't want to see it again.
No, because we saw it. The movie originally came out in October, and we saw it in October.
Yeah.
And then it went away, and then when the Oscar push happened, they brought it back, and that's when we were thinking about going to see it again. But I was like, there's other stuff that I would rather watch than this again.
Yeah.
Not that it's a bad film, but
it's all right. See
I bought it. We bought it the day it came out, and
yeah,
still 4.5 then, but it's just moved down to a 4 more recently when I rewatched it. So how many do you have left? I have my.
We both have our top 2.
Top 2. Okay. Well.
They won't be the same, so that's nice for once. That neither one of us is spoiled. Number 1 picks. My number 2 is Boyhood. Second favorite movie of all time. Interesting video I watched a year ago or something. It's had Ethan Hawke. I don't know if you watch them, the GQ, when they break down their most iconic characters.
I hadn't seen it.
You don't watch them? Okay. He was breaking down ones, and he had got to Boyhood, and he made the comment how this is the only true coming of age movie based on the standard that most others are only like, a day or a week in the life, where this one is truly this kid's whole life at different periods, which I thought was interesting. But I don't know, you just don't care for it.
I never said I don't care for it. And if I don't have a rating for it, I don't think right now.
You got a 3 now. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's not a true rating though, because I didn't rate it when I watched it. That was when I created Letterboxd and just decided to give ratings to things for some stupid reason, which I wish I hadn't done that. Because now I have films where I'm like, I don't know, I'm not confident about this rating. Boyhood would either be a 3.5 or a 4 probably, for me. And I'm gonna rewatch it eventually, but
you have no excuse. You have your own copy. I was the only person that saw this in theaters the first time, and I watched it at Red Cinemas, which I think was Carousel when I watched it.
Probably.
Can't remember.
I think so. 2014.
Yeah, I was the only person in there. Walked out and immediately. At the time, I wasn't rating movies, but I would have known it was a 5 out of 5 movie. I was like, oh, this movie better win Best Picture. And it didn't, because the Academy sucks. Man.
I wouldn't have gave it Best Picture. But
it absolutely deserved Best Picture.
I think
you're
Whiplash.
God. Oh, man.
Whiplash or Nightcrawler. For that year.
Oh, who's giving hot takes now? Yeah, I was like, this should win Best Picture. This is kind of At this time, I think I was getting big into Richard Linklater because I think maybe a few months before I'd watched the Before trilogy, and like I said, I knew I'd already seen Dazed and Confused, but it wasn't like I was like, oh yeah, Richard Linklater, Dazed and Confused. Like, no, it's not. At this point, I was like, oh, for a while, until I guess last year, I was like, he was my favorite director.
And you're like, man, this movie sucked.
I just watched. Well, I was gonna. I still have that Where'd You Go, Bernadette. I might watch it tomorrow, but I think incredible filmmaker, especially with movies like this. When he does the more, I guess, cash grab movies is when he loses me. I don't think that's what he's best at. But like movies like this, like Board trilogy, when you have just a short amount of characters, short amount of time together, he really shines as a director.
Short amount of time together.
Well, yeah. I mean, you had 12 years together, but in each of those segments, it was like a day. So really, each time you broke it up could have been its own short story. At most, a couple days here and there in each story, but yeah, short time together, man.
How many years do we actually see? Because it's not actually 12, right? We don't see him once every year. They jump.
No, it's over the course of 12 years. I think you get 5 or 6.
Okay.
You get, the one when he's, starting out. I can't remember. When he's a kid is when it's harder to remember how many you get. But obviously you get the one when he's graduating. I want to say 6 overall.
The only ones I can really distinctly remember is the last one.
Yeah.
And then the one with the stepdad.
Which there's 2 stepdads. The drunk one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one. But then, like I say, there's random splits where, like I say, it doesn't tell you how old he is. You kind of have guessing here and there, because you get the stepdad at one point in his life when he's her mom's professor, and he goes to class with her, and they're walking out, and he's asking her out on a date pretty much, and then I think the cut between that scene and the next one is when they come back after their honeymoon. So, like I say, that's technically a different period, but it doesn't say how long they were together or whatever, because he doesn't.
Fucking airplane.
Jesus. He doesn't say exactly how old he was, but I want to say 6 different times at least.
Okay, I'll get around to rewatching it sometime.
You'll rewatch it 2 hours and 45.
I was really confused why she won the supporting actress. I didn't get it, man.
I know you didn't. You were not having it. I think you wanted. Who did you want? 2014. I can't remember who you liked. Can't remember now. I think you like.
I don't know. No, I mean, I would have nominated Emma Stone, but I think Naomi Watts gave a better performance than Emma Stone in Birdman. She wasn't even nominated.
Yeah, well, Birdman was nominated, so.
I think Naomi Watts was overlooked for her performance in Birdman, and I don't know. You could maybe say that was a leading, but I would say probably supporting of Jessica Chastain in Most Violent Year.
I don't care which category it was.
Son of a bitch.
You pick whatever category, yeah.
I thought she was great.
You see something in that movie I don't.
I guess.
But yeah, that would be my number 2 is Boyhood.
My number 2, kind of similar to my number 7, and that is Spider-Man. 2002, which is one of my favorite superhero movies. Comic book. my number 2 there as well. But yeah, this movie, I decided it is a coming of age film because I mean
You decided.
I did. I mean, it's about this, Peter, he's 18 when we see him. He's in high school. He graduates in the film and starts college. So he might turn 19 in the film, but for the most part, he's probably like 18 in this one. And yeah, it's all the stuff that he's having to deal with at that age. He's losing. Well, first of all, his parents aren't around, but he's raised by his, aunt and uncle. He loses his uncle, has to deal with that. Dealing with changes in his life, obviously becoming this Spider-Man, changing how his features, everything. Like somebody would go through puberty, I guess, but like it's him becoming, getting these powers. His relationship with MJ, dealing with that, college itself, and the struggles that come with that, and his friendship with Harry. And then most importantly, with great power comes great responsibility. Such a good lesson.
God.
Such a good lesson that obviously this is a coming of age film, dude.
Obvious to you, I guess. Yeah. That's
you were the first job.
You were the lone holdout for this movie being a coming of age.
I have clarified it for people.
I appreciate it because I thought it was a superhero movie.
No, it's also a coming of age.
Yeah, you can clarify your number 1 pick too.
I will
see how that goes. My number 1 favorite movie of all time, Breakfast Club. You mentioned it in your honorable mentions because I don't know why. I don't know what's in that glass you're drinking.
This is water. Straight vodka.
Daniel Plainview is drinking that. I know I've said it, anytime I talk about it on a video. Favorite movie, incredible. John Hughes' masterpiece. Let's get out of here with that. It would be interesting to see it remade. I'm not pushing for that by any means. Whoever watches this, don't. If you're not passionate about it.
Remake it as a TV show on, say, Netflix.
That scares me based on who Netflix works with. Yeah, incredible screenplay. Another film's like A Day in the Life. Each character, the audience can obviously, I would think, could relate to every character in some kind of way. But yeah, spoke about it before.
There's going to be 7 episodes.
Yeah.
The first episode sets everything up, them getting detention. Then the next 5 episodes are going to be one for each character and doing flashbacks to their backstory.
You lost me.
And showing how they did what they did to get them in detention and stuff in their home life. What?
Oh, that was the first episode. Showed what they did to get into detention.
No, they'll say it in the first episode, and they go to detention, and it sets up, and then each episode is them talking about it to begin with, telling the others, and then it goes in the past and does a flashback. It shows how they got in detention, and then we have the final episode, which is continuation of the first episode. I hope you're excited.
I can't wait. But yeah, I've talked about it before, so.
And then it's gonna be popular, and they're gonna make a second season.
Sick.
Where they get
13
detention.
weeks, where like somebody gets killed.
Yeah.
Guess we killed Judd Nelson's character.
No, somebody else died, and they're gonna blame him for the death.
Well, obviously he's the criminal.
So he's gonna be on trial inside of the library in the second one.
And the other 4 gonna back him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't know about his home life. His dad burns him with cigarettes.
And we get more of that in this second season.
Do I get to see it? The dad.
Yeah.
Oh.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Now season 3 is when Bender dies.
So you think comes back in season 4?
Oh, sick. And they're in college in that one.
I was alive the whole time. Bender ain't going to college.
No, he's not. The others are.
He's the genius. Got into Harvard. Got that book,
basketball scholarship.
Book smart. Book smart twist. I'm going to this school. What?
And I know you're happy about my number one pick, and that is Star Wars: A New Hope. It's my favorite coming of age film. Which I didn't expect to put this as my favorite coming of age when I was thinking about the list to begin with, but then when I decided it was a coming of age, it was obviously my favorite. I mean, there's other genres, obviously too. Sci-fi, fantasy, that would be probably the main one that you would think of. Sci-fi, fantasy, adventure. But you know, the core of it, it's a coming of age film. It's about even if you look at Leia's storyline too, but if you look at Luke, he's this kid. Lives on this farm. I mean, he's 19 in the movie. He's not like in high school, but we don't know what high school is like in the galaxy far, far away. Well, we just know, and I don't know if he even had any kind of schooling really, other than maybe them teaching him stuff. We don't really know. But he's on this farm. He's got all these dreams of going off and doing all these different things. He's trying to get into the academy. They're like, nah, man, we don't want you to go to the academy. We want you to stay here and do Moisture Farm, dude. Another season. We need you. And, you know, he's bummed out about it. These aren't even his real parents. These are like his, you know,
uncle. Not
even his really real aunt and uncle. It's like really these two random people that said they're his aunt and uncle. Then, he meets Obi-Wan and then people kill his family. Then he starts his life. He goes on this adventure and the changes that come with that adventure.
I wonder, how old is Rey in The Force Awakens?
She is 19.
So why is that not on your list of coming of age?
Decided not to put it on there. I don't consider that as much a coming of age, though. I don't. I mean, because that's what I'm saying. Like, you look at A New Hope.
How old is Kylo and Finn?
Kylo's 29. He's 10 years older than Rey. Finn's, I don't know Finn's exact age. I think 22, but I'm not sure. But that's like Kylo's 29, so you wouldn't consider that coming of age from his story. And Rey, it's different because she didn't. When we see her, she's like content doing what she's doing, and it's not like she's dreaming of going off and doing this other stuff. And she does it. She's not interacting with other people. She's like living in this like shed.
But she's 19.
She's 19 though, but that's not just because you're that age doesn't mean it's coming of age. It's what the themes and stuff that are in the film. That's why I think A New Hope is, and that's why I didn't put Solo. Solo I would consider a coming of age before I would consider Force Awakens one.
Consider it a Western too.
I thought about putting Solo as one, but I decided not to because I don't really think Solo is a coming of age, even though that he's 19 when we first meet him, but then it jumps ahead like 3 years, so he's like 22 in the main part. So I wouldn't really consider that a coming of age. But A New Hope, the whole film, Luke is 19 and dealing with the things a teenager would be dealing with, especially in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah. Your list, dude.
It is my number one favorite coming of age film.
I hope we keep doing more genre lists just to see what your definition of stuff is.
Next week for Top Shelf, we are doing top 10 summer blockbusters.
Oh, did not know this.
Are we not?
I don't know. I can't remember. You changed it.
Oh, well, that's what we're doing next week.
We'll do top 10 animated, and you'll put Kill Bill Part 1 because of that one scene.
Get the fuck out of here.
Well, technically, there's animated. That's all I'm going to put. Can't wait.
So we'll be back on a new episode next week, next Tuesday. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel.